And what are you cooking for dinner tonight? Well, Mary Bartz is here with Meals in Minutes, sponsored by the Minnesota Pork Board. We're outdoors on the plaza right outside the studio, and that means we're grilling tonight. What's on the menu, Mary?
Hey, Todd. Well, it's obviously a beautiful evening. I'm in short sleeves. Can you believe it?
I know, isn't
How
this
many
great?
months ago were we complaining about the snow and the cold and the shoveling and the frostbite?
Seems like only a week ago, but I digress.
It does. Well, yeah, it kind of was.
Yeah.
But hey, the grill is going. Today's recipe is Mexican mole pork chops with mango salsa, and it's from The Pork Chop, The Pocket Guide to Pork. The subtitle of this brochure is so clever. It's your not-so-secret weapon for solving dinner-time dilemmas. We will have copies available here at KNUJ, or visit mnpork.com for the recipe on the Meals in Minutes page. Now, you may remember from past shows, and we've been doing these shows now for a couple months, that we've talked about whole boneless pork loin. And that loin typically weighs from 8 to 10 pounds, and it is a great value. You can easily slice it yourself into a variety of cuts to create roasts, chops, kebab cubes, or stir-fry strips. Use what you need today, then freeze the remainder for the future. Now, for today's show, I did shop my freezer. I had 1.5-inch chops that I had sliced and knew that I'd be doing pork chops in the future, and so I pulled them out a couple days ago. They've been in the refrigerator defrosting, and I had them I pulled 8 out, and they're ready to go. And of course, pork chops are always in the meat case, whether bone in or boneless. So before we get started with the recipe, I want to emphasize and re-emphasize, don't overcook your chops. When we're out talking to people about preparing pork, they always say how much they love pork. But dry and tough has to be the one complaint we hear. And it's not the fault of the meat. It's all in control of the cook. So let me share 2 key points that will ensure juicy, tender results every time. The first, proper cooking temperature. Now on the grill, that means the medium heat setting. Now it's tempting to crank up the dial on gas or not be patient enough with charcoal. So for charcoal, the coals should be ash-covered and glowing. Hold the palm of your hand at cooking height and count the number of seconds you can stay in that position. 4 seconds is medium heat. Now, point number 2, always use a meat thermometer. And for grilling, an instant read thermometer is ideal. Insert the thermometer horizontally from the side to ensure an accurate reading. The temperature sensor is about 2 inches up the stem from the tip, so be sure to get the tip into the middle of the chop. And it takes about 15 seconds for the calibration. The final internal temperature at serving should be 160 degrees Fahrenheit, so you can pull chops off the grill between 150 and 155. Just loosely cover them with foil and let rest. The temperature will continue to rise and the juices will settle. So that's it for the basics. Had to get that out of the way. And I think we are ready to get started on Mexican mole pork chops.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go. So while the savory flavor of pork certainly stands on its very own, dry rub ingredients add complementary notes and help seal in juices. And the great thing is I had all of the ingredients for the rub in my cupboard. So I'm just going to list them quickly, and as I said, the recipe will be at mnpork.com. So for the rub, it's just measuring and mixing. It's 1 tablespoon brown sugar, 2 teaspoons onion powder, 1 1/2 teaspoons cocoa, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon ground chipotle pepper, 1/8 teaspoon ground paprika, a dash of cinnamon, and a dash of ground allspice. And 1 batch is just the right amount to cover 4 pork chops. I have proof. I just did it this afternoon, and it works great. And so a rub is just that, a dry mixture that you rub or massage into the chops. And it's okay to let the chops sit for about 30 minutes while the grill gets to temp. And if it takes longer than that, just refrigerate the chops. So, looks like the grill is ready. The recipe directs us to spray the chops with the nonstick cooking spray to minimize sticking. And I would suggest that you also spray the cold grill grate or wipe vegetable oil on the cold grate. So place the chops directly on the grate, and since our chops are 1.5 inches, they'll take about 7 minutes per side. So if your chops are a little bit thinner, say 3/4 to 1 inch thick, the timing will be about 3 to 5 minutes per side. Now, typically, I prefer to turn the chops just once, and I always use a metal spatula. You need to allow enough time for the meat to sear, and again, it's patience. If you turn too early, the meat will stick. A spatula allows you to get under the chop and lift it off the grate, minimizing the sticking. Now, I do have my tongs handy because as I near the end of the cooking, I use the tongs to lift the chops and insert the instant read thermometer. Remember to place the thermometer horizontal to the surface of the chop, right in the middle, get the tip to the center of the chop, and allow about 15 seconds to ensure an accurate reading. Now, I tend to pull chops at about 150 to 155, especially with those thick chops. Remove it to a clean plate, not the plate you had your raw meat on. You need a clean plate. We want to avoid any cross-contamination. Just cover loosely with foil and then allow about 5 to 10 minutes for the temp to rise to a perfect doneness at 160 degrees. And so another tip for anxious grillers, do not pierce the meat with a fork. You don't want to lose those valuable juices, and don't press the meat either. It only releases the juices, and it really doesn't speed up the cooking. If anything, it increases the chances of the meat sticking to the grate. Now here's the quick recipe for the mango salsa. It's just one large mango that's peeled, pitted, and cubed. It's the juice of one fresh lime, 1 tablespoon finely chopped red onion, 1 to 2 teaspoons snipped fresh cilantro, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now make sure your mangoes are ripe, and just gently press the fruit. You can tell that it's a little bit of softness. That's really the best indicator for mango ripeness. And I've used a mango slicer, which cuts the mango in half, removing the seed. Then you cut the flesh into cubes and slice away the peel. And I use a paring knife for that. Now, if you don't have a mango slicer, just peel the mango and then use the paring knife to cut wedges and pull away from the seed. Once all the slices are removed, just cut the slices into cubes. Now, with the lime, I grated the lime first and got probably about a good 1 to 2 teaspoons of the lime peel. And then I cut the lime in half and I squeezed it, and I got probably about a good 3 to 4 tablespoons of lime juice. So I'm adding the lime peel as well as the lime juice. It really adds another layer of lime flavor and adds some nice depth. Use my French knife, my chef knife, to chop the red onion and the cilantro, and I just mixed it all together. And Todd, I think we are ready to serve. We have steaming grilled chops here, so we're going to get it ready to go.
You kidding me?
It's really up to you here. No, now it's your turn to take the first bite. What do you think?
Oh. Oh man, are you kidding me? That is fantastic.
Well, and then the mango salsa. How do you think that pairs with the rub?
Oh man, mixes in there so well.
Okay, get a little bite there. There he goes. It's all coming together.
Oh man, it's kind of just the right mixture of kind of bitterness and sweetness in there.
Yeah, well, and the chilies, they add the heat and a little bit of a bitter edge because the lime does add a little bit of bitter notes in the lime peel. So.
It's very, very good. Like I said, the mixture is just about perfect between the two.
That's great.
So, and the pork is cooked just right. Just
good. Moist, man. Tender,
juicy. Oh, absolutely. I was just going to say, very juicy.
Okay.
And it's just
those lean loin chops.
Yes.
Great nutrition profile and just great all-family appeal.
I tell you what, this is my favorite time of the month. It really is.
See, do you have any questions
Very
today,
good.
Todd? I kind of just went through the recipe, and I didn't give you time to kind of step in and ask any of your typical questions.
No, that's fine, but I kind of feel like a dope because I mispronounced mole earlier, and you can probably figure out what I said.
Mole?
Mole.
Yeah, but I didn't put the accent over the E. So
yeah, I know.
But
kind of describe what mole is.
Well, we really have this whole Mexican theme going, and mole is a rich, dark, reddish brown sauce that's a spicy Mexican specialty, and there really is no standard recipe. Every good cook has their own approach to it, but it's generally a cooked blend of onions, garlic, chilies, and ground seeds, say sesame seeds or pumpkin seeds, and a small amount of Mexican chocolate. So for our rub today, the mole in the recipe title is a reference to the flavor blend of the cocoa and the other ingredients. So the cocoa really adds the richness without adding sweetness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the chipotle pepper too. There, if folks don't like maybe something that strong, can they use something a little milder in
and
that?
chipotle, it's really a smoked pepper that has been, to make the chili, powder. It's really ground, and it does have a bite. It's a smoky, a little intense. So they may just want to use regular chili powder that they probably are very used to, in making their regular chili. They could even omit that ingredient, or you could substitute cayenne pepper or cumin if you like. I think the best thing is this recipe is very flexible, as most rub recipes are, and I really would encourage people just to give it a try and then adjust the flavor levels. Maybe they want more brown sugar.
Yeah.
That's really a nice touch to help round things out too.
So it's really up to them.
It really is, but all of our recipes are tested and a good starting base, and again, just a good reminder that to ensure success, those two key tips, making sure that the grill is at the right temperature, and to make sure you use your instant read thermometer to make sure your internal temperature of the pork when you sit down to eat is at a perfect 160 degrees.
Sure. All right. Fantastic.
Good deal.
Another success, Mary.
I think so, and it's been so fun to be outdoors today.
Oh, it's nice, isn't it?
I've only grilled out a few times at home, and so to be out today to do the show with you is a real treat. And I know everybody that's listening, we all have a time crunch when it comes to getting dinner on the table. So encourage people to stop by the studio to pick up a copy of the brochure, The Pork Chop, The Pocket Guide to Pork, with that clever subtitle, Your Not So Secret Weapon for Solving Dinner Time Dilemmas. Or if you have internet access, go to mnpork.com for the recipe on the Meals and Minute page. Gather your family around the table to enjoy another delicious pork dinner. Nutrient-rich, lean, and delicious.
Very, very good. And porkbeinspired.com, too. People can go there.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. It's sort of the revamped positioning for pork. And I think today's recipe was a wonderful inspiration to keep pork on the table, keep grilling outside. And,
you bet.
And we are going to be back next month with another inspiring pork recipe on the grill.
I already can't wait.
Yeah, I'm thinking about kebabs. What do you think?
Oh, sure.
Sure? Okay.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right. Mary, as always, we thank you.
Yeah, well, we're going to dig in and have pork chops and mango salsa.
I like how you said that, pork chops and mango salsa. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Mary, thank you once again. Meals and Minutes. Mary Bartz here on KNUJ, the third Wednesday of every month. Meals and Minutes. So excited I can't even say it. Meals and Minutes, sponsored by the Minnesota Pork Board. And again, our thanks to Mary Bartz for coming in here and actually cooking here tonight. We're grilling outside Shonlow Park, and we're going to dig in here in just a little bit as well.